Hello, and welcome to episode 3003 of How Not to Be a Crappy Parent. I'm your host, Sebastian Hernandez, and today we will be talking about the seeds of love and compassion, based on the teachings of the Dalai Lama. You may ask, who is the Dalai Lama? Well, I'll tell you. The Dalai Lama is... wrong Lama. The Dalai Lama is the reincarnation of the Bodhisattva of compassion, Avalokitesvara, or something like that. The current one is the 14th reincarnation. A Bodhisattva is a spiritually enlightened person who remains in this world to help others on their spiritual path towards nirvana. He is committed to the promotion of values such as compassion and tolerance. He stresses the importance of these human values in leading happier lives. He is also committed to promotion of religious harmony. He believes that all religions have the capacity to create good human beings and thus deserve respect. In 2010, the Dalai Lama spoke at Stanford University, describing how the loving experiences that children have while growing up plant the seeds for future psychological stability, health, and happiness. He spoke extensively on how compassion from parents is especially important. Nursing a child is a child's first happy and deep experience, which is their first experience of intense joyfulness. And he claimed that those who receive maximum care and compassion from their parents end up more emotionally stable and secure and are happier. He also claimed that children who are derived of compassion in early childhood grow into mental, emotional, and even physical problems. In his speech, the Dalai Lama presents 3 reasons why compassion is vital to child's development. First, everyone comes from their mother, obviously. Everyone has the experience of initial care that comes from nursing from the mother, so they share that same seed of compassion. Second, using common sense, one can see how any human area or family with an atmosphere full of affection, trust, love, and friendship, and compassion would lead to more happiness than families where anger and jealousy dominate. Third, that constant anger, fear, and other negative affectivity can compromise one's physical health. This one has some scientific support. The Dalai Lama mentions one finding that people who use self-focused words like I, me, and mine more often are likely to get a heart attack. Use of these words reveal a sense of insecurity and loneliness, which would lead to stress, anxiety, high blood pressure, and subsequently, heart attacks. The Dalai Lama's claim displays several parallels with positive psychology. Cloninger defines positive psychology as a current movement in psychology that emphasizes healthy functioning with concern for immediate experience and positive emotions such as happiness. It was heralded by humanistic psychologists such as Abraham Maslow and Carl Rogers. The book Family Relationships by Firestone, and Catlett describes the main function of parents as the identification and nurturing of the capabilities in their children and facilitating the development of their autonomy. As pointed out by the Dalai Lama, we all possess the same seed of compassion, so nurturing that seed of compassion is vital in parenting. Young children require empathic and affectionate adults who serve as role models and help them to learn to control their affect. One study from Eisenberg and others suggests that parental warmth and positive expressivity contributes to children's effortful control. Now, effort for control is a temperamental characteristic defined as the efficiency of executive attention, including the ability to inhibit a dominant response and or activate a subdominant response, to plan and to detect errors. Effort for control plays a fundamental role in emotion regulation and is often used as an index of emotion regulation. Now, how do the concepts of positive psychology address children who are orphans or have unhealthy or neglectful parents? Also, how does it affect their personality development? Well, these children would likely be deprived of the love and compassion that the Dalai Lama referred to, which is so integral to emotional and psychological development. Barring some unexpected change, these children may live through their entire childhood and adolescence without being properly cared for and nurtured on an emotional level. It's terrible, isn't it? Lack of social connection has been linked to psychological distress, interpersonal dysfunction, and antisocial tendencies. Maslow, one of the pioneers of positive psychology, pointed out that after basic psychological and safety needs are met, a person's primary psychological need is a sense of affectionate and loving connection with others. A deficiency in this would alter their motivations and subsequently their personality. An introduction to positive psychology by Seligman and another guy claimed that without the proper positivity in their development, a child may encounter difficulty with the building blocks of later happiness and or long-lasting well-being. Cloninger asserts that positive psychology reminds us to feed our human potential for good. Now, this initial human potential for good, or seed of compassion, as the Dalai Lama put it, would likely not be fed for orphans and other neglected children. If it's not fed, would it die? Who knows? The Dalai Lama touched upon several concepts that are reminiscent of other personality theories as well, such as Horney's interpersonal analytic theory. She claimed that the lack of warmth and affection from parents is the most basic evil. This also further developed into a relational approach. This emphasizes interpersonal relationships, especially early relationships, and with the mother in particular. Early relationships are important because the children do not yet see themselves as separate entities or persons. So the social early relationships are the basis for developing internal representations of the self and others. According to this theory, neglective parenting sets the stage for internalizing more negative thoughts and images of others and the self. Adler also spoke on parental behavior and personality development. Of particular relevance is his thoughts on parental neglect, where a child's needs are not adequately met. Adler believed that this parental neglect contributed to maladaptive development. This obviously applies to orphans or unwanted children. They will be likely to believe that others will not support them. Now, the Dalai Lama mentioned how constant negative affectivity or self-centeredness can endanger one's immune system and cardiovascular health. This is supported by several theories and studies. Horney, again, reported that one's interpersonal orientation, such as moving towards, against, or away from people, influences one's physical health. For example, high levels of hostility or moving against people predicts heart disease. There's support from biological theories as well. One study of rats showed that rats deprived of maternal contact for only a few hours a day developed permanent deficits in the hippocampus and became more vulnerable to depression. Now this points to other possible side effects for these unfortunate orphans. So, our take-home message, our take-home lesson is basically that compassionate parenting is vital to raising emotionally stable and overall healthy children. Thank you, and please, raise responsibly.